Ms. Jacobs.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. General Guillot, I'd like to follow up on some of the questions that my colleague asked. You specifically said that DoD will not be doing any detention of migrants at the southern border, but we've seen recent reporting indicate that the administration intends to use active duty military personnel to hold migrants at the border. So could you talk about what exact activities constitute holding migrants if troops are explicitly not detaining them?
Congresswoman, I said that we are not currently doing any detention, and I have no orders to conduct any detention.
Okay, and are military personnel currently or will they at any point be responsible for physically transporting migrants from one location to another or facilitating their transfer into DHS custody?
The Northern Command Title 10 forces at this point are not allowed to transport any migrants, illegal aliens, or other.
Okay, great. And will military personnel be operating checkpoints, conducting crowd or traffic control, or performing any surveillance of migrants or border area residents?
Well, to the first two, the answer is no. Can you repeat the last part, please, ma'am, on surveillance?
Sure. So they will not be conducting checkpoints, conducting crowd or traffic control. Will they perform any surveillance of migrants or border area residents?
Well, we do detection and monitoring, which includes surveillance of the border and the region near the border to ensure that no illegal crossings are either underway or about to happen. If we detect those, we notify the Border Patrol and they take any action necessary. But the action is not taken by the Title 10 forces.
Okay, thank you. And so then do troops have access to DHS surveillance tools, databases, or intelligence systems that collect or store information about U.S. citizens or lawful border residents?
No, we are very careful to ensure that we follow all intel oversight requirements, and we regularly inspect to ensure that all of the Title 10 forces that are in support of the Border Patrol follow those rules.
Excellent. And then when your military personnel come in contact with a migrant, they are not eligible to detain them. But what happens if Border Patrol personnel are not immediately available? What are the processes?
Congressman, what they do is they continue to surveil them using the sensors and the systems that they have so they can give updated locations to the Border Patrol agents. But as you mentioned, they will not stop or impede the illegal migrants. That's only a law enforcement action.
Okay, excellent. And as you know, General Guillot, the law is quite clear on this, right? The Posse Comitatus Act explicitly states that it shall not be lawful to employ any part of the Army of the United States as a posse comitatus or otherwise for the purpose of executing the laws, except in such cases and under such circumstances as such employment of said force may be expressly authorized by the Constitution or by an act of Congress, and no money appropriated by this act shall be used to pay any of the expenses incurred in the employment of any troops in violation of this section. General, can you explicitly assure this committee today that Northcom's activities at the border fully comply with this law and that under your command, our military personnel will not be put into positions that compromise the foundational principle separating civilian law enforcement from military authority?
Congresswoman, I can assure you that we are very familiar with that law and we follow it to every detail.
Excellent. And what specific training and guidance have service members received regarding these legal constraints?
When the units are identified to come down to support the Northcom mission, they go through an extensive period of training both at their home station and then once they arrive on the border during what we call the RSO&I process, which can take several days to a couple weeks to ensure that they have all the required training to include the standards on the use of force and the posse comitatus.
Great. Since January 20th, have there been any revisions or contemplated changes to the rules of engagement or rules for use of force for military personnel deployed at the southern border?
The only one that I've proposed is a change to the rule of force, which would allow us to shoot down or bring down drones that are surveilling over our deployed and mobile troops. That's the only change to the use of force that I've proposed.
Excellent. And are service members deployed at the border armed?
Yes, I've directed that all service members that are operating in close proximity to the border will be armed with the weapon that they are trained to use, whether that's a long rifle or a sidearm.
Gentlelady's time's expired, Chair, and I recognize the gentleman from Nebraska.